Hey everyone, Power Karma here, and for today's video, what I want to do is give you a walkthrough on how I set up to go out for an IRL streaming session on a bike ride. Now I have several different setups that I do, so I want to focus on one today. I will touch base on a couple of the other setups that I have and one that I'm working on. But I want to focus on one specifically today because I am actually going for a bike ride on my racing bike, my road bike. So I'm going to focus on this one setup today. So I'm going to show you a little bit over here where I actually have all my gear and set up, and then I'll move the camera around to the other side of the computer and show you what I do to get set up and configured there. So now my goal is to kind of keep this a streamlined workflow. So I intend to do this in one take, no editing. It's kind of my style. So if there are any flaws, there's just going to be flaws. All right, so let me get this camera moved on over here and I'll show you what I do to get here set up. So you mind the camera movements here because it's going to get a little bit wacky here. Move this. All right, so right here, let's make sure I got that in frame. This is my little area that I work on where I keep all my streaming gear. All right, let me make sure it is in frame here. Get this light pointed down over here. All right, let me move it just a little bit more. There we go. Now I think we can see everything. Okay, so this is my chest that I have here just specifically for streaming gear. So I keep all my batteries, GoPro and everything over here, and just various mountings and cables and things, and then additional cables and all my grid locks here. Okay, so let me just kind of touch base on a couple of the other setups that I have, and then we'll go jump right into the one that I'm actually going to do today. So now this here is a setup that I use for if I'm going to go out for a little bit more of a casual ride, or let's say a walk. Okay, so it's a full mesh backpack, has one pocket back here. Now this is one where I'm not so concerned about size and weight or anything like that, so I'm actually going to use the biggest grid lock that I have. I actually use 2 grid locks. So I'll put everything on here that I can possibly put. I'll put a battery in here, and then I will usually stick the 2 modems on here with their own battery as well. Okay, so that's one setup. So I'm not going to go into this detail here. So we're just going to set this aside for now. Put that back. Put this back. Now there's another setup. Oh, and I didn't show this here. This here has the shoulder stuntman mount for the GoPro. So I pretty much just take this, and I got these quick release magnetic mounts, and so that's how I set this up. Now I do have a video, I'll link to that, where I made a modification to the stuntman mount where you can use a standard 1-inch ball mount on the stuntman, because the ones that come with it are these little small ones, are proprietary, and you're limited on the options as far as the extension arms and things that you can put on it here. So I'll link the video to that so you can see how I modified this here. All right, now let's get to this other setup. Now this one here, I'm not going to go into detail again, but this one is sort of an experimental setup. So I have a setup where, again, this is more casual, my slow Sunday rides. So I have a quick release bike rack that goes onto the seat post, and I can put this on. And so I'm playing around with the configuration right now. I cut a hole on the back, and I'm actually going to cut it bigger because I got a 120 millimeter fan here that I'm going to mount in here with some mesh on the front. And I've made a couple of plugs or modifications to this cable here so that it can actually plug into a standard battery pack. Now I obviously will use my bigger battery packs here for this when I do use it. So that will draw air out, and I'm going to put another, well, I'm going to cut this back section out and put mesh so that I can draw air across everything and out the back on this here. So I'm not going to get too heavy into this here, but this is going to be one of the ones where I will use my 2 bigger battery packs, the Belabox, put my modems in. So I'm still working on this particular setup right here. So let's get into the one we're really working on here. Okay. All right, let's get this out of the way. And here's the other plug that I made for this fan because I do have another battery option if I want to use the barrel type 12 volt DC option versus the USB in there. So we'll show this off a little later when we get to it. All right, now let's get to the nitty gritty of the one that we use for going out on the road bike, the racing bike. All right, so I have this backpack right here. Now I'm going to give credit to Peloton, who is an IRL streamer on Twitch. A lot of credit to him and his setup and how his setup has evolved over the years. So this is the exact same backpack that he uses. Now I've made a few modifications to mine where I've cut out this top part right here because I don't use this pocket here, so that leaves mesh here. And I'm actually going to put some more mesh here on the sides and up here on the top just to allow a little bit more ventilation in this backpack. Okay, so I'll link to the description on that. Let me set this aside for now. And then I use this chest mount Stuntman again with the modification to the ball mount so that I have more options for the ball mounts on here, the 1-inch ball mounts. Okay, so we'll get to this here in just a sec. Let me set that aside. All right, so let's get this here ready for a ride. So down here in my drawer, I got several different grid locks here. So I use the smallest grid lock that I have. I don't remember the exact size of this one here, but I'll put the link to the description on this grid lock here. Now to set this up, I'm going to pull out 2 batteries. Pull out these 30,000 batteries here. Now I've taped these here so that I know on this particular battery which ports are actually the 5 volt 3 amps, and it's going to be this USB-C one here and this regular USB over here on the outside. So I usually mark this one here because I use this one specifically for the Belabox, and then this one here I use for charging everything else. So I give the Belabox its own dedicated battery here. All right, so what I do on the configuration, let's go ahead and start with the modems. So I put one modem up here at the top. So this is going to be the Verizon modem. Let me go ahead and turn it on. Get this here situated at the top up here. And this is my T-Mobile modem here. Go ahead and turn this one on. And we'll get that one tucked in there. Now what I try to do is make sure that the battery, the plug-ins are on the top and the bottom on this here, because I do like to try to keep them charged when I am out riding. Now I'll take this one battery, and this one here, I don't really care so much about the orientation on which way it goes here. This battery here is going to keep charge on these modems, which it really doesn't need. It's a little overkill. And then also charge for the GoPro. Okay. So now I'm going to take this particular setup right here. I usually just kind of tuck that right in there. Let me make sure I get it the right way. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and plug this here on the outside there. And I'll plug one up here on top and bring this one underneath and plug that. Now, so that will keep charge on that right there. Now for the Belabox, what I do is I take this one here and I make sure this USB-C is on the outside here on the right side. And you'll see why I do that here in a sec, because on the Belabox you do want to use the shortest possible cable to prevent any amperage loss or voltage drop. So that's why I give this a dedicated battery, make sure nothing is going to pull or draw on this here. And I have two Wi-Fi modem, Wi-Fi antennas here in the USB ports here of the Belabox. Okay, so this here is set up and ready to go. That's exactly how I use this right here. All right, put this big battery away. Move this to the side. Now, here's the backpack. So the backpack has two cables on it. Now, normally I do run the wireless video. I've been running the GoPro, using the GoPro app for the RTMP signal, but today I'm actually going to do a hardwire HDMI. I always leave this connected in because I do need to do a bit of a test today. I've been having some issues with video kind of dropping out, going black screen and such, and I think I finally determined that it's actually a bad HDMI port on this GoPro Media Mod. So I have an order. I ordered a new one, so I got a whole new one today. So I do want to switch it over to HDMI today and hardwire, but I probably will go back to using the wireless. But I do want to test this out today. All right, so those are the two cables that are configured into the backpack. So this one comes around over here, and then this one here is going to get plugged into this black battery here. All right, so let's go ahead, get this here set up. I put this Belabox here on this outside mesh pocket. And then the Netgear AT&T modem, which is Ethernet port in, put that on the outside there. Now I am going to run this one cable here. All right, that is set up, ready to go. All right, now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this. What I do is I just slide this in slightly, not all the way, just enough so that it's getting ready to go in and just slide down to the bottom here. Now I'm going to take the plug for the Belabox. I'm going to come around and plug it into this USB-C port on this battery pack here. Okay, so you can see the Belabox, the light came on, so it's powered up. Okay, so that is good to go. I'm going to go ahead and take this power for the modem. Actually, no, I think I'm going to change the cable on that there because I forgot I made a slight configuration change here the other day, and so I don't want to use this USB to USB-C cable anymore. So let me pull out another cable here real quick. So we're going to switch this to a USB-C, USB-C. So this is going into the Netgear modem. This is going to come around and then plug into USB-C on the black right here. If I can see here. All right, there we go. All right, so that should be powering up. Yep. Okay, and the last thing we're going to plug in is this cable for the GoPro. Again, into the black battery here. It would help if I could see. There we go. So that's that. And the last thing is this part right here, okay? So again, I'm doing something a little bit different today. Normally I do the GoPro wireless RMTP, but I am gonna switch back to an actual capture card here. So normally when I do the capture card, I use this Cam Nova 4K capture card. So I'm gonna plug this here into the USB 3. And I take this cable and I shove it down the pocket here, because what I want to have happen is this capture card to sit here on the side so that it will help stay cool. So let me go ahead and plug this in. And then here's the HDMI cable for the GoPro. That's going to go in. And then again, I'm just going to kind of push all this down on the side of this mesh pocket so that it'll sit just like that. All right, now I know it looks a little messy, but now this thing is all ready to just slide and push right down. And pull this here up over the top. Pull this side up over the top. I'm going to push all these cables in. And that is it. I can tuck this one in. Yeah, I had a crash a while ago back in El Paso, and so the mesh here ripped, so I do need to fix that. All right, and that's the pack right there. That is ready to go on and ready to go. So I will demonstrate how I actually do that. So let me get the Stuntman. Okay, so the Stuntman, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. This here is going to go on, and it'll sit right here on my chest. Okay, and then I'll take this, and then that will go right there. So that way when I'm leaning over on the bike, now I do probably have to play around with this angle a little bit, but when I lean over it'll be somewhat level. So it has to, standing up, kind of point to the sky. I think it's going to have to be adjusted just a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and plug this in so that we can run a test, and I'll show you what I do on the software. All right, so let me turn this on. Okay, we're going to plug first the battery. Then we're going to plug the HDMI. Now on this HDMI cable, I made a small black line on the outside of it. That way I know which way it goes. All right, so that is set up, ready to go. So I would just simply put this on and then swing this over my arm, and then we are ready to go for a ride. Now let me bring the camera around over here to the computer, because I want to show you what I do to set up for the software here now. So y'all mind the crazy camera action here, because I am going to actually move this here all the way around. Let's get this here set up. All right, now normally something like this I would actually do a software demonstration and kind of show you how I would set this up. But for today, we're just going to simply just show you what I do. I don't want to get too elaborate into actually setting up the software or anything like that. So I'm just going to simply show you how I get ready for a ride. All right, so let me explain a couple things that we got going on here. So this is the computer that's actually in my office. So I have my main workhorse streaming computer over here and my gaming computer there. However, I do not stream off of any of these computers. I have another computer that is over in my gym that I use for gym streaming and all my IRL streaming. So the screen that I have open right now is the remote desktop connection to that computer in the gym. So let me go ahead and log into it. Let me bring the keyboard over here so y'all don't see my login. All right, so that's the desktop of that computer. The other screen that I have over here is the remote for the Belabox. Okay, so let me click on that. And the Belabox is already plugged in and going, so it looks like 2 of the modems are reading, 1 of them is not, so I'll probably have to go over and check to see why 1 of them is not reading. But we can go ahead and do the test that I wanted to do off of the 2 modems that are reading right now. Okay, so I am going to switch the encoder setting back. Here you can see I got it on the Jetson Nano, the RTMP localhost. So I'm going to switch that back to the Jetson H.265 Camlink 1080/30. Okay. Now I know that's not a Camlink, that's a generic Cam Nova. You can pick those things up for 25 bucks and they work well. All right, so I got that going. It looks like another modem has dropped out. So at least we got 2 going right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start on that. And this scene is already set on live, and you can see that the GoPro is already coming on through that HDMI cable in that Cam Nova capture card. And there it is right there. All right, now the other thing that I'll do right before I leave is I will hit my NoAlbs software here. So that way I have, you know, remote control, low bit rate switching, scene switching, things like that. But this right here is the main test that I do before I take off for my ride. So once I've done this test, then I'll go ahead and switch it to a start scene, finish getting ready for my bike ride, and then head on out the door. And that's it for taking off and, you know, setting up and getting ready to go for a bike ride. Now, I'm not going to go into the software details and setting up or anything like that. There are a lot of videos out there. People, you know, if you get on Rational IRL, Discord, a lot of instruction there on setting things up, and a lot of developers there. A lot of people getting involved in this do help with what these settings here look like. So that I'm not going to get into today. Now, I would also recommend you get on over to Peloton's YouTube channel, look at some of the stuff that he's put out, get involved in his Discord. He's very helpful. I've learned a lot from him over the years of just watching how his stream has evolved. And so a lot of what he does, I've taken and kind of done my own iterations and what works for me. But this is what it takes to go out for a bike ride. And that's it. So I think I did it in one take. I'm not going to do any editing. It is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from this here. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.